All right, friends, for this video, we're going to be talking about simplest form and how to simplify. We said simplifying was dividing both parts of a fraction by the same number. That's what you watched in the Pearson video. So we are going to be dividing to try and find the smallest or simplest form of fractions. So you are going to need your notebook, pencil, and workbook page 525. So pause the video and go get that now. All right, I'm going to move my workbook aside and I'm going to go ahead and open up my notebook to page 72 and 73. Page 72 on the left, I'm going to title Fractions in Simplest Form, and that's where we're going to be doing some examples. And then on 73, we're going to title it Simplest Form because that's where we're going to write our notes. So go ahead and pause and title those now. All right, I'm going to start on page 73. And I'm going to write simplest form. So write that real quick. Now, in the Pearson video, it was talking about when we're using simplest form, we're going to use fractions. So simplest form is when the numerator and the denominator So the numerator and the denominator have no common factors other than 1. And we're going to do some examples and we're going to talk about it. So we said that for simplest form, I'm going to put a star right here because for simplest form, we're going to be using factors. And factors are what you use to multiply. So pause the video and copy that down. Now in the Pearson video, it had where you divided by 2 and then you divide it again. Now we're going to use our factors to try and find the greatest common factor. So the biggest one. And we call that our GCF. And we're going to write what that is. So pause the video, write that down, and I'm going to write the note for it. All right, so the greatest common factor is the largest factor that is shared. So go ahead and write that down. And again, I'm going to show you what that means. So don't go, what? I don't get it. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to start with the example 6/8 if you want to go ahead and write that down. So pause and get all that down there. All right, so we're going to start with our numerator and we're going to write the factors. Now I said factors are what you multiply. So what do you multiply together to get 6? Well, I can multiply 1 and 6. I can multiply 2 and 3, and that's it. So those are my ones for 6. Now I'm going to see what I can multiply together to get 8. Well, what can you multiply together to get 8? Well, I could do 1 and 8. I could do 2 and 4. That's it. So now I'm going to look for which one they have in common because I'm looking for common factors. Well, in common, they have 1 and they have 2. And those are the only ones they have in common. Now, I'm going to use the greatest common factor, the biggest one that they have in common, and that's what I'm going to use to divide because for simplest form, in the video, it said I'm going to divide. So I'm going to take my 6/8 and I'm going to divide by 2 because this was the greatest common factor. So I'm going to divide the top by 2. And whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom. And if I divide 6 by 2, I get 3. If I divide 8 by 2, I get 4. Now, we said this is simplest form, but here is another way I could check it. I could write my factors for 3 and 4. Well, 1 times 3 is 3, and that's it. 1 times 4 is 4, but I could also do 2 times 2. Now, the only one that they share is 1. So if I go back up here, it says that the numerator and denominator have no common factors other than 1. So because it only shares 1, that tells me that is in simplest form. So make sure you have all that down, and we're going to do another one together. All right, now we're going to do 10 hundredths. So I'm going to write my 10, I'm going to write my 100, and then I'm going to start writing my factors. Well, my factors for 10, I can multiply 1 and 10. I can multiply 2 times 5, and that's it. Oh my goodness, 100. I'm going to have a lot for this one. I could do 1 times 100. Think about money. I could do 2 times 50. I could do 4 times 25, like 4 quarters. I wrote my 4 in the wrong spot, sorry. Oh, I know 10 times 10. I could do 5 times 20. I'm just going to stop right there. So have those listed down. Now they share 1 in common. They share 2 in common. Oh, they share 5 in common. They share 10 in common. Now looking at all those common factors that they have, which one is the greatest common factor? 10 is the greatest common factor. So that tells me that I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to divide by what number? By 10. So if I divide the top by 10 and divide the bottom by 10, 10 divided by 10 is 1, and 100 divided by 10 is 10. So now I have 1/10. Oh my goodness. Do you remember on page 64, where over here we talked about unit fractions, and we made that note of when a numerator is 1, it is in simplest form? Come back over. I have a numerator of 1, so I know from that note it is in simplest form. That's why we wrote that note. So pause and make sure you have that. Then I'm going to put some examples on page 72. All right, on page 72, I have 4 examples that you are going to do. You're going to list the factors, find the greatest common factor, then divide by that greatest common factor to see if it is in simplest form. You're going to do that for 21 33rds, 15 45ths, 16 80ths, and 12 14ths. Then you're going to bring those to me so I can check them, and then I will tell you what you're going to do on page 525. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them.